Good evening, Dr. Sawyer. Good evening, fellow students. Tonight, I'm going to talk about polygamy must be legalized. That is the name of my topic. I'll first of all define polygamy. Polygamy is simply having multiple wives simultaneously, which most people also call it plural marriages. Well, I'm going to talk a brief history about polygamy. Polygamy was first introduced to us, we this modern generation, by a man in the Old Testament Bible called Abraham. Abraham had a wife by the name Sarah. Abraham married Sarah when Sarah was 20 years old. They lived for about 70 years without a child. They tried it over and over again. It didn't materialize. As a result, Abraham opted the choice of taking his servant by the name Hagar to have her as an additional wife. This scripture that I'm talking about can be found in Genesis chapter 15, verses 28. Genesis was written by Moses. Now, Hagar, after she became the husband of Abraham, they lived for only few years, and lo and behold, they had Ishmael, a son by the name Ishmael. So, I'm going to talk about three things why polygamy is good. Someone among the audience might question me, stating, why polygamy? Well, polygamy is good in the sense that you can have multiple children when your number one wife is barren or is not able to have children. Number two, why polygamy is good is you can have, sexual revolution. And number three, polygamy, can serve as husband for the husbandless. Now, I'm going to talk about my first, subtitle. Polygamy. By having polygamy, you can have multiple children. I use Abraham as an example, and I'm going to use King Solomon, also, a former king of Judah or Israel in the Old Testament. And this can be found in Ecclesiastes chapter 29, verse 4. As we all know, I know this is not the first time that, I'm trying to make an allusion to this story, but a lot of people among the audience know. King Solomon had 100 wives, 900 concubines. So in all, King Solomon had 1,000 wives. Let me put it that way, 1,000 wife. And King Solomon had multiple children. The children that King Solomon had is, numerous. So I've cited one example. Now I'm going to move to the next example. My next example, which is sexual revolution. Sexual revolution. Let's say if you have 2 wives or 3 wives and one of your wife is having her menstrual period, you always have the opportunity to go in for the next one. That's if you want to have sex and enjoy it, every day you do it. Every day you do it. But if you have one wife and the wife is having a menstrual period, there's no way you can, have the chance to, have sex. So I think polygamy, by having sexual resolution, is very good. Now, according to the Florida Sun, published on 28th of November 1987, it says, according to statistics released by the US government, about 29% of them have fun just by having intimacy with their wives or having sex with their wife. So that's my second example. My third example is having or serving or using polygamy as husband for the husbandless. Now, according to Sheikh Imran Hussein, a lecturer at the University of Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, where Saudi Arabia is where they mostly practice polygamy. He said 29 million of the inhabitants or the citizens of Saudi Arabia are without husband, which means they cannot find husband. They cannot find husband. That period. So by one man having multiple wives, this 29 million will not be there. Every woman will have a husband and they will take care of them. So why most people indulge in these practices? Most people indulge in these practices because it's not always the help from the man. Okay, sometimes, if like I said, if you have multiple wives, they will help you. It's not always the man taking money or dipping inside the pocket and be sponsoring the woman. Sometimes most women makes more money than the man. So it's not a matter of me, I don't have money to to indulge in these practices. So it's very good. Therefore, I entreat you, the audience, who are only married to one wife, to go ahead and have additional wife. Now, I'm going to use my great-grandfather as an example. My great-grandfather, though I wasn't alive, my father told me, though he was a Christian, but he wasn't a staunch Christian. Therefore, he married 7 wives with 29 children. And my grandfather also practiced this polygamy. My grandfather only had 3 wives with 17 children. And presently, my father is married to 4 wives in my country, Ghana. My father has 11 children. And me, as I'm giving this speech, I have 2 wives. The first wife is called Doreen. Doreen has given me 4 children. And Arita, my second wife, I have only 2 children with Arita. Though I'm only 40 years old. But I have projected that by the age of 45, I should, surpass my father. Who knows? So I therefore entreat you to practice polygamy. Now, having said that, I have talked about the importance of polygamy and how it has impact on men and as well as the women. Thus, polygamy gives a lot of children if you want to have multiple children. Polygamy gives sexual revolution. And thirdly, polygamy can serve or serves as husband for the husbandless. Thank you for having me as your speaker. Thank you so much. Take care.